All of your settings in Sherlock can be found up here in the Settings tab. There are quite a few settings, but I'm just going to go through the ones that are important. So first off, your license setting shows you your license and all of the features you have enabled. You can also import your new license if your license is expired. We have our FEA settings, where you can define your FEA engine. For number of CPUs, we recommend halving whatever the maximum number of CPUs that appears in here is. So if you have 4 CPUs, use 2. The other setting that's quite important are your launcher settings, and this controls the amount of memory that your computer uses. Under stack size, we recommend using the maximum stack size you have available, and under maximum memory size, we recommend using whatever half of your computer installed RAM is. So if I have 16 gigs of RAM, I'll select 8. In settings, we also have our upgrade software option down the bottom here. If you click on this, it'll show you Sherlock software upgrade settings, where you can set how often Sherlock will search for an update. You can also go in here, click Save and Check, and Sherlock will immediately check if there's a new version to be downloaded. The last menu I want to show is the Help menu, which is actually very useful for new users as well as experienced users. First off, we have our Sherlock console, which prints out all of the things that we've done since we've opened Sherlock. If ever you run into a problem or a bug in Sherlock, you can always open your console, click Copy to Clipboard, and paste and send this information to me, which will allow me to help debug your issue. We also have the Task Monitor in Sherlock, which is an internal task monitor. And as you work in Sherlock and run your analysis, you'll see that this Task Monitor will be populated, as well as provide you with analysis times, when they started, when they ended, and their status. We have a Search Help menu here. So if you click on this, you can search and find help topics. We have our tutorials, which are 6 lessons to get you started with Sherlock, and our user guide, which contains many more lessons and more in-depth functions in Sherlock. I only recommend that you run through the user guides that interest you and that are applicable to you. And as you come to new features and start using new features, you can look at the user guides for them. Next, we have our part properties. If I click on this, you'll see a PDF pop-up with all of the Sherlock part properties. This file is very powerful because it allows you to go through, if you're not too strong in packaging, and see how we define the different variables that make up a package. So for instance, with a BGA, you can go through and look at how we define each dimension of the BGA so that you can correctly fill in your part properties. In here, you'll also find your release notes. So with every version of Sherlock, we include release notes where we include bug fixes as well as new features of Sherlock. Lastly, down the bottom, we have this About Sherlock, which will open up and tell you which version of Sherlock you're running, as well as the machine that you're running it on. And here you'll also find your end user license agreement as well, if you want to read through that.